Hey, it's Mike. I'm back with another video on PTACT today. Today we're going to be looking at a main of PTACT that isn't working, but I don't have one that doesn't work right now, so we're just going to act like it's not working. So when I walk into a room, the first thing when I get a complaint about a PTACT not working, I'll look at my thermostat to make sure that it's either off or on. In this case, I walked into the room and it is on. But when you find that they're off, that means it's because your PTACT may have blown GFI or it's a problem on that end. So, but with this problem we're going to talk about today, the thermostat is on, so we know we can continue on to the PTACT. So at the PTACT, when I'm standing here looking at it, I see it's set up on a wall thermostat, and for the case of what we're talking about, it's not going to be running at all. There's nothing happening. But if you listen closely, you'll hear a sound, and it'll wait. You'll wait about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, again, and that's all the experience I've had is telling me that's the capacitor, that it's more than likely is shorted out. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our face off, and we'll just set it off out of the way. We got the cover on this deal here to remove, but we're going to unhook the power. We're going to disconnect the power to the unit. So now, so we don't get shocked or anything. A lot of the time, I like to use this screwdriver. This is a Klein tool. It's a 1/4 5/16 driver. They're perfect for these units. They're magnetic tips, so you don't lose your screws when you're taking them out of some of these tight places. We'll take our cover off, and we'll get up in here at the control panel. You've got 2 screws that you remove. So we'll take that, and what's nice about it is, you know, again, you got the screwdriver that's magnetic, so you hold on to your screw. And it's even better because when you put them back together, you got to have a magnetic tip, or else you won't get that screw where you need it to be, and you'll just fight it forever. So some of the units have a cover that comes off. The newer units have a ribbon type cable. You want to be careful with that cable. You can take it off, but in this case, well, to take it off, there's a little ribbon connector down in here, and you just got to grab one end of it and gently bring it up, and then try to come over to the other side. Just work it up until it comes off, and it looks like that. So now we've got access to the capacitors, and I'm going to get me a little light here. I'm kind of blind sometimes. Can you see down in there better with that? Well, you got the 2 capacitors in here, and what generally happens is the biggest of the capacitors here, they'll start going bad, and the tops of them will start bubbling up, actually. So what you need to do is be able to check the capacitor, and you need to have a little tester to do it with, which we've got one. And I'm going to pull this capacitor out, and we're going to test it for the fan and the compressor sides. So we're working on this capacitor right here, because this is the one that would control the compressor, and that's when they go bad, they'll start shorting out, or they'll short out altogether, and that's when you'll get that sound every 10 or 15 seconds. So this is our capacitor. It gives us the part numbers and ratings, but there should be, here's what we really want to know right here is what type it is. And it's a 25 at 2 microfarad. There's 2 capacitors built into this unit. So what we're going to do, there's three terminals on the top, and you need to watch where your wires go. Now, each terminal's got a name. The wire with the yellow is going to the Herm terminal on this capacitor. And sometimes, just for your safety, you can take a screwdriver and go across these capacitors and discharge them, because sometimes capacitors can hold a charge and you don't want to get a little shock. But yeah, we'll get back to the Herm is the yellow wire, the brown wire is your fan wire, and then all the other wires are your common wires. But if you're going to check this capacitor, all you really need to do is remove your Herm wire. This usually goes easier with a pair of pliers. Remove that. Remove the brown wire. You can leave these all hooked up, all in the same terminal. Won't be a problem. And then we'll get our capacitor tester here. So what you'll do, black wire, you can put it on the common. Red wire, put it on the Herm terminal. Push the button, and you got 24. Which means that's 24 microfarads, which is capacitor. This capacitor was for 25, so you're good there. So take that off and check your fan lead, just for kicks, just to make sure that it's at the 2. And it's right at it. So this is a good capacitor, but if you had a bad capacitor, you're going to see something like this. Short. It's shorted out on the inside, or it's gonna say open. Generally, a short is when you get the compressor buzzing. And so again, this is a good capacitor, but if you were changing it out and you had the shorting going on, you would put a new capacitor in at the value that is marked on the capacitor. Just don't go grab one off the shelf thinking, oh, this will work, because it probably won't. It's got to be this value. So we're going to put this back together. We got our brown wire, which is our fan wire, and it's going to go on the fan terminal. Fits on it good and tight. Our yellow wire for our compressor. It's on good. Just going to drop that back down into the little bracket and try to reassemble this. So we're going to finish up, trying to assemble this. We got to put this ribbon cable back on. It goes, if you want to get a close up in there, but there's a little set of prongs there that this slips onto. You got to be really careful with them. That's why you got to kind of work them side to side when you're taking them off, so you don't bend any of those little pins. So when you're getting in here, you want to make sure you get started right. This is always the tricky part when you take these off. You push that up into place. Get your screwdriver back out, the old screwdriver. Line up your holes. We'll put our cover back on that attaches down here on the bottom with screws. Oh, this is a little thermostat. You always want to make sure this is put on somewhere in your grill here. It snaps on, just kind of snaps into place. So we got the unit on. It'll take up to 5 minutes before the actual air compressor will kick on. I mean, the compressor will kick on. Just make sure that everything's running fine, that we don't have the original complaint about no cool and the unit's making a buzzing sound. That's usually the big tip. When you hear that buzzing, you know that capacitor is just shot. You should just always have one on your cart with you when you go to a room. But as long as you've got your little capacitor tester that I showed you, this is very handy and simple for plugging it on the capacitor. But that's it for the capacitor, and we'll be back with some other videos, maybe more exciting than this one. So.